I'll try.
Yeah, thank you, Tracy. It's the thought.
I don't think it takes a special person to be a band director.
Particularly of young children. Hi, Steve.
Hello, how are you this evening? Yes, yes, her family's up there.
For your reading pleasure.
More reading pleasure.
Doing a good job.
Yeah, this is not,
It's a document that's.
you know what,
written
she's
for a
really
lot.
good.
Is she?
She's, yeah, 'cause Columbus was in
So
the
we
first
can't
year he
say
was
we
there.
didn't
He was in there, and I was like,
Yeah, the bonds are done and sold.
by Christmas, she had worked a miracle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she had, I was like, wow.
You know, this is what they give to the buyers, the bond buyers.
Oh, yeah, to show
Well, that's a
them
hard instrument
your
to teach.
track record, what they
With
can
violin?
expect, what's going on, yeah. And they've already sold the bonds, so,
I didn't know.
you know, this was helpful.
Yeah,
I knew how hard it was to learn how to play it because I watched my son learn how to play it. And I have 4 nieces that all play.
they also have.
But I didn't really think about it until recently.
Yes, for you, this is good
You
stuff.
have to memorize where your
For
fingers
me,
have to
this
go
is
and
like,
all that
oh,
other
it's gonna
stuff.
give me a
And to
headache.
teach somebody how to do it, you got to be really good. Really good.
But just the fact
That's
that we've
one of the
been through
things,
the
you know,
bonding process recently
a lot
several
of
times
places,
without any
it's
major
the
problems.
music
Yeah.
programs
give
and the
us
art programs are first to go.
credibility,
And it's
right?
hard to
Right, exactly.
find
Yeah, because
high
they had no
quality, you know,
concern.
quality
Right, there's
people
no
to take on those
unknowns.
kind of
They
positions.
know who we
Mhm.
are, they know
And
what we're
there's,
capable of.
Yep, yep.
And automatically,
It's
an
quite a
automatic
process.
assumption
I know.
that they're going to go.
Well, when
for.
there's that much money involved, I
A lot of
would
people
hope it
were
would
giving
be
us grief.
somewhat of
I
a
think Christopher and I had to tell them, we haven't done that.
Yeah.
We haven't cut back on those programs. We understand how important they are.
They are.
I love the music.
Even
I'm
the
not a very good singer.
little bit of discord when the kids play, it adds a touch of fun, I think. Well, because they're trying really hard.
Mm-hmm, they are. She's doing a good job.
Where's our back row?
They're here.
It's my wedding anniversary.
Uh-oh, what are you
Well,
doing
happy
here?
wedding anniversary.
Thank you.
So what you're going to, what's the expensive steakhouse over there?
I don't know, he goes, he had basketball practice, of course, till
And then you're being
6:30.
gathered in the
He
private
goes,
jet and flown where for
yeah,
the weekend?
he goes, you wanna go to, La Margarita tonight? I'm like, no.
Come in.
You mean?
Eddie Merlot, that's
He
what
goes, you know I'm gonna have my grubs on. I'm like, well,
they better go home and change.
that's right. Good point.
Gosh, I haven't been to Lamar in a long time.
Haven't you?
No.
We used to go all the time, but
I kind of quit going when they threw Leo out.
Different to you.
I got, yeah.
Madam?
Hello.
Getting ready for the holiday Christmas party?
It got canceled. You mean the one I was having?
Yeah, or the one we're having, or if that could.
Oh, that one. What?
That
Oh,
one.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yours
Yours
too,
No,
I
you know,
think?
that little, yeah, that one I was gonna have, that little clothing one got canceled.
Yeah, I saw your email today.
Oh, well. My niece was all stressed out. She said, I don't know what I was thinking. I don't know how I'm gonna bring all that stuff with me. What?
Oh, that's what you were talking about this morning, but she hadn't canceled.
Just a summary of the
She did
bonds
cancel.
that they
Yeah, but when you were talking about it this morning, you were
Okay.
like, oh, she said she was gonna drive down here, but I don't know how that's going.
Exactly.
one evening to go to
After I've
sleep on.
invited.
I'll be tearing right through that.
She's, she canceled.
Don't wanna
Now I
sit
gotta
your
remember,
house.
who did I invite? I said, I better be home that night, just in case somebody shows
Good evening, and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Fort Wayne Community School Board of Trustees. We are lucky to have with us today a group of students from Lane Middle School who are part of the advanced orchestra there. They want you to know that their concert will be Wednesday night at 6:30 at Snyder High School. Okay, very good. And they entertained us before with some Christmas music, and were very good, and so we want to thank you for that. And they are going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. There's, you can exit stage left.
Thank you.
The Lane band and orchestra, I guess, are led by Colleen Phillips, who I should have introduced. And she let us know that they have nearly 150 members in band and orchestra. But they are not the largest group, or maybe close to the largest, in our middle school. So that is really, I know that's an emphasis of ours and our foundation, raising money for instruments. And that is fantastic to see those young people involved at such a young age. We begin with awards and recognitions, and we have one special recognition for tonight. We have a,
Want to do roll call?
I'm sorry? Oh, we got to do roll call. I'm sorry. Steve, roll call.
Roll call. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Steve Corona from the 5th District.
Glenna Yale from the 2nd District. I say ditto to that.
I'm Becky Hill from the 3rd District.
Ann Duff, District at Large.
Jordan Lebemoff, the 4th District.
And I'm Julie Hollingsworth, District 1, Board Vice President. Mr. Giaquina is not with us tonight. He is away on business, but we will see him later in the week. On my far left is Barb Trout, the clerk of the board, who attempts to keep us organized. And next to her, our superintendent, Dr. Wendy Robinson. Good evening. Okay, and now we can begin with awards and recognition. And we have one special award. We would like to recognize one of our board members who is, this is her last official meeting, although we will see her a couple of more times. But Becky Hill is retiring after 8 years on the board. She has had a lifetime of community service. She's been an educator, so I think that serving on the board for her has also been one of her passions, as she stated to us early this evening in the little recognition that we had for her. She's been very active in community service in the city, and we've been lucky to have her help us for 8 years. As I mentioned before, when I think of Becky as kind of the heart and the soul of the board, always recognizes and acknowledges things that are going on maybe in the community, even the state, and sometimes nationally, and how those might affect us and our students, and always, speaks on those occasions eloquently. She was very instrumental in the referendum initiative campaign that we had this past spring, and I was lucky to spend quite a bit of time with her during that period of time, and I know I've enjoyed sitting next to you, Becky, for 6 years, and really have valued your input and your passion and your, as Dr. Robinson said, and you may probably want to say a few words too, and your positive nature, and always looking on the bright side of things when sometimes it's hard to. Is there anyone else that, in fact, anyone else like to say anything? Steve?
Well, it's been a privilege to serve with you. And I know this had to be difficult in thinking about leaving, but it's okay to let go. It's okay to let go and spend more time.
How would you know that?
I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet, but I'm getting there. But everybody has that point in time where they decide it's time to move on, and I'm happy for you.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Lynette?
As I said earlier, Becky has really been someone who we are going to miss. There's just no way to sum up the enthusiasm, the passion that she brings to the work that she does here on the board, and we're going to miss her sorely, and I've really enjoyed being on this board with you. Appreciate that.
I was fortunate to work with Becky before I became a member of the board, so I was, and we both resigned from that place at the same time, so I was glad I got to spend time with her again as a member of the board. So now you're leaving, so we'll have to make sure we stay in touch.
Yes, for sure, that's true.
No words, I just want a hug.
There'll be time for that.
Right now.
Dr. Robinson?
I talked earlier about Becky being the epitome of relationships. But I was thinking that one of the things about Becky, you can tell she was a school teacher because when you're around her, you want to do everything and to make sure that she's happy with what you're doing. She has a gentle way of having high expectations. But the principals who came this afternoon for her reception, all of them have experiences where she came to the school and got actively involved in something in the school. So we won't let you get too far. You know that.
Good. Yeah,
But I'm like Steve. Some of us don't know how to let go. But when it's time, I hope that we can use you as a model for how you let go gracefully, but
work
still
on
be
that.
remembered for the good things you've done. We appreciate you.
Thank you, thank you.
Well, let's do like a group hug down here. I mean a group picture.
Oh, a group
Shall we?
picture? Oh,
Sure.
sure.
We're doing a group.
Dan and I coordinated this evening, so we'll stand next to each other.
Here's a small token of our appreciation.
Oh,
Don't
that's
hurt
lovely.
anyone with it.
Didn't hurt anybody.
Thank you.
I got something to say.
We knew that.
Number one, thank you. All the kind words, it's really difficult. I've retired a few times and retiring here again, and the words spoken mean so much to me. It's really hard to respond. But I want to say, not to just those who are here, most of whom I saw just a little bit ago at the reception upstairs, I really want to talk to those teachers who are watching tonight, and the administrators and the aides and the bus drivers and all you wonderful people that make this Fort Wayne Community Schools an absolutely stellar organization and school district. And I don't want any one of you to forget that. Sometimes we get so deep in the weeds of worrying about what's going to happen here and if this happens and what's going to do. We can't do that. We have to concentrate and make sure that we know that we are the best, that we strive to be the best. Every day that we go into the classroom, every day we start that bus, every day we serve a child in the cafeteria, every time we clean up messes the children have made in the rooms. You do it the best because you're doing it for the best kids. You're doing it for the best kids, and we're doing it for all the kids. We're doing it for all our kids, no matter what their backgrounds are, their parents' beliefs are, no matter what land they came from or what religion they are. We treat them equally, and we cherish each of those children. And that's where the value of this organization comes from. It comes from that deep desire. You work here because of that deep desire of what you want that child who is in front of you to become. You feel personally involved with what that child is going to be. And I cherish the time I've been up here. I tell you, it has been a grand experience, and I wouldn't have traded it for anything. It was far more than I ever expected. I had no idea what I was getting into. It's a totally different look at things than you get as a teacher or as an administrator. My dad was an administrator, so I kind of know some of the stuff that went on there, but it is so special, especially with this board, and especially with this administration, and especially with our superintendent. It is true honor to work with this level of integrity and honesty and passion and desire and love for the work and love for each child. I can't tell you what that means to me, to have had a piece of that, to just have a little piece of that has been absolutely extraordinary. And there will be no replication of it, that is for sure. I've enjoyed every minute of it. I'm sincere about that. People say, what, you're on a school board? What, you know? Say, no, I'm not, I'm serious. It has been a joy in my life, and I am a better person for it, for having done this. So I thank you all for your patience with me, and with your teaching of me of all the things that you've done. So I love y'all. And those of you out in TV land, you hang tough, okay? You've got an oasis here that is absolutely perfect and wonderful, and these children need you. So, and with that, I wish everybody Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and thank you for everything.
Thanks, Becky.
That award was not on the agenda.
I know, it just popped up. But as you said, we're all better board members for having served with you. So thank you. Next on our agenda is the consent agenda, and these are items that come to us every meeting. They include the approval of the minutes from the November 28th meeting. They include the vouchers and payroll approval from the last, for the period ending December 12th and the payroll ending November 11th. They also, and by the way, vouchers are, those are available, like kept on file for like too many years and can be viewed by the public. And then there's the personnel report for this meeting. And Dr. Robinson, was there anything in the personnel report you wanted to highlight?
Nothing this evening.
Okay. And I see no mention by any board member for pulling anything out of the consent agenda, so do we have a?
Move approval of the items contained under the consent agenda.
Second.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Jordan. All those in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Now we get to old business, of which there is none, and then we get to new business, beginning with 2016-2017 special education grants from the Indiana Department of Education for this school year. The Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA 2004, requires that after the base payment allocations are provided, additional funding is awarded to each district based on public and private school enrollments within the local school jurisdiction and according to the number of children living in poverty. Funds are used to support salaries and fringes of approximately 145 staff members. These non-competitive grants are in addition to the Special Education Foundation payment. For Fort Wayne Community Schools, the Part B Special Education Grant amount for the 2016-17 school year is $8,424,000, an increase of $246,901 from last year. The preschool special education grant is $296,683, an increase of $10,854 from last year. These non-competitive grants are managed by Tracy Williams, Chief Academic Officer, and support District Goal 1, achieve and maintain academic excellence. Do we have a motion? And
So moved.
Second.
thanks, Becky. Thanks, Ann. Anyone with any questions? Okay. All those in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Okay, now we have the Guaranteed Savings Project, HVAC and lighting improvements. It's recommended that the board approve the contract for the 2016 Guaranteed Savings Project, HVAC and lighting improvements at Bunch and Young Early Childhood Centers, Studi Elementary, Blackhawk and Miami Middle Schools, and the Helen P. Brown Natatorium. Performance Services, Inc., the total contract is $7,464,776. The information provided to us, this project includes modifications and replacements to the existing HVAC systems at Bunch and Young Early Childhood Centers, Studi Elementary, and Blackhawk and Miami Middle Schools to provide a complete air conditioning system for each building. Work also includes the replacement of the spectator area flooring, UV pool filtration system, and the pool and house lights at the Helen P. Brown Natatorium. All systems replacements will be replaced with energy-efficient equipment and systems with a payback period of under 10 years. The work will be completed by August 3rd, 2018. Funding for this project will be from the 2016 Fort Wayne Community School Building Basic Renewal Restoration and Safety Project. Otherwise, the referendum project approved this spring. Requests for proposals were sent to multiple prospective vendors, with one vendor responding. Do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Jordan. Any questions? I have one, but go ahead, Steve.
We have previous experience with Performance Services.
Yes, they are currently leading our energy leadership program as a consultant, and then we've used them on some lighting projects in the past, 2 of them.
And we're satisfied with their work.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, was that a surprise that we only had one responder to the, or one bidder, or?
Yes, because we did have several interested. As you saw in the weekly, there was 4 contractors that were going through the process, but at the end of the day, only one responded.
Okay. Any other questions? Thanks, dear. Okay, all those in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carried. By the way, if anyone would like to take one of these, you're more than welcome. Which one?
You're doing great.
Losers. Now we have the renovation of the former Nebraska Elementary building. And this is, again, the 2016 bond project. It's recommended that the board approve the following construction contracts for the school building basic renewal, restoration, and safety project for the renovation of the former Nebraska Elementary building. The bid from Schenkel Construction was for the renovation, and that's $3,018,475, and automated logic for the controls, and that's $191,300. The related information: the project consists of architectural, mechanical, plumbing, and electrical renovations to the former Nebraska Elementary facility. The building will be repurposed to house an alternative education program for students in grades 6 through 10. The project will begin next month, and be completed during the summer of 2017 to be open for the 2017-2018 school year. The existing building automation systems or controls are proprietary, and Automated Logic is the single source vendor for this work. And as we can see from the information provided to us, there were several bidders on this project, 7 of them, and Schinkel Construction was the lowest bidder. Do we have a motion? Second?
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, Becky. Thanks, Steve. Any questions? Okay, all those in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Great. Okay, now we have purchase of 1,000 Lenovo? Is that how you pronounce that?
Yep.
Looks good.
Never heard of it. Anybody else heard of it? See? Oh, I know. 1,000 Lenovo ThinkPad Yoga 11E laptop computers from Process of Indianapolis for $425,870. The related information provided to us: the purchase of these laptops will expand the capability for teachers to support instruction through the use of digital content. These laptops will provide additional stations for classrooms and labs, both stationary and mobile, and are a necessary component for this year's iStep Plus testing. Indiana law does not require public bidding for purchases made at or below General Services Administration pricing. The price of these laptops is approximately 48% less than GSA pricing. Well, good for us. Funding will come from the Common School Fund. And any questions will be addressed by Jack Bird, our Director of Technology. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Okay, thanks, Glenna. Thanks, Steve. Any questions?
I only have one question. Jack, how do all these different things interrelate? I guess Lenovo's going to work with the iPads and going to work with the other stuff, and
Lenovo is the maker of the laptop. Or do you mean as far as?
well, let me put it this way: I don't own a cell phone.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that the Lenovo laptop product is going to work on the same software system as the iPads and the other products that we have to
There are
mesh?
Yeah, there is software that operates on both devices. So for example, Microsoft 365 is a product that we use district-wide that will operate both on an iPad and on a Lenovo. A lot of the educational apps are web-based, and so here again, they will operate on both platforms. Now, in addition to that, there are also applications that are platform-specific, so they're only a window, because the Lenovo is a Windows 10 device, and of course the iPad is an iOS device. So there's iOS apps that only operate on the iPad. But the district initiatives, we make sure that they operate on like a web platforms. That way we can use any device.
So I've got 365 up in the cloud that these different things can go grab up into the cloud and pull down. And then we've got your typical internet web base that we can all connect to, that they all connect to. And then we have a separate component that there may be one sort of processing system or educational tool that's limited to a particular hard product.
Correct. So on your iPad, for example, there are a lot of apps that we use that are specific to the Apple iOS. And here again, those address a specific standard in our curriculum. That doesn't mean that there isn't a corresponding application on the Windows 10. It's just that for this particular instance, we found an app that students, it's very engaging for students that serve that particular purpose.
And Jack, students can't take iStep Plus on an iPad, right? That would have to be either a PC or
They can
laptop?
They can take it
They
on
can?
an iPad. There was a question earlier on, but Apple has addressed the issue. However, in this district, we chose not to go the iPad direction, especially for like the technology enhanced items that require dragging and dropping. We've standardized on the laptop.
Okay.
The other thing I want to give Tracy Williams and Jack credit, along with the tech coordinators. We often worried about technology for testing. Now obviously we always have, but we're trying to buy technology now that's coordinated through their efforts in a district-wide committee because it should be for instruction. So there are things that you can do with an iPad, but the kind of critical thinking, the kind of project-based types of instruction we want to do, we're training kids for the real world. And I'm sure there, as iPads get to be more advanced, but we don't buy these every other week. So what you'll see us go toward are more of the laptop type devices that kids can use for much more intensive projects. So I want to just give them kudos along with the tech coordinators. That's a lot of work, but we're aligning what we're doing instructionally with the type of technology that allows it to be a tool, not just a toy or a gadget, and not just for testing.
Any other questions? Okay, thanks, Jack. All those in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carried. And lastly, we have the purchase of Apple iPad Air 2s. It's recommended that the board approve the purchase of 570 Apple iPad Air 2s from Apple Inc., Austin, Texas, at a cost of $213,180. Elementary and middle school students and teachers use iPads to support classroom instruction. iPads allow teachers to provide access to digital content and integration of educational applications and experiences. They're also used as a tool to enhance instruction to meet the needs of diverse learners. These iPads are intended to supplement existing devices at the building level. Apple Inc. is the sole source provider for their products. Indiana law does not require bidding for purchases made from sole source providers. Funding will come from Title I. Tracy Williams, Jack Bird, and Claire Lutkin are available to answer questions. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Becky, Steve, thank you. Any questions?
What is the approximate life of an iPad?
Yeah, I'd like to know that.
In this district, we use it till we can't any longer. However, on average, we use,
Normal.
we use them about 4 years. And sometimes we'll squeak a 5th year out of them, but usually 4 years is what we target iPads for.
Thank you.
What we also do is repurpose them, because there's somebody who may need a more complex instrument and somebody who doesn't. So around here, it has to fall apart before we stop using it.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor of approval signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Well, for tonight's meeting, we have no reports, so that leads us to comments. Steve?
No other comments.
Have a safe holiday.
There you go.
Yes, same, and I wanted to also, my husband's sitting in the audience tonight for this meeting, and I want to thank him for everything he did to help me be on this board for 8 years, and he helped in my campaigns, both of them, and been married to the guy for 55 years, so I think it's going to last. Anyway, thank you all for the honor for being here. I really appreciate it.
I don't have anything.
Jordan?
I went to the Southside High School holiday music celebration this past weekend with my wife. She kicked me out of the house and dragged me down the street. Very, very enjoyable time. I didn't watch Twitter that night or follow up on the tweets that keep on coming and coming. And, you know, one thing I have to tell you, it's when I was growing up, Dad always said, my father, Ivan, in order to have a vibrant city, you have to have living parks. And I'm going to change that a little bit. In order to have a vibrant school district, you have to have living arts. So support your music boosters. Go out to these programs, You don't have to be an aunt, an uncle, a mother or father or grandparent. You can be a neighbor. And for a couple small dollars, enjoy an hour and a half of beautiful chorus and beautiful orchestra and beautiful band, and you come back home with a good feeling on your shoulders because you haven't been watching headline news, you haven't been watching MSNBC, and you have a new perspective on life. Happy holidays, everyone. Given what I do for a living, drive safely. It is icy out there, particularly as you approach the stop signs. You think you're going to stop, but you're going to hit the ice, you're going to go through the stop sign, and somebody's going to call me, and I'm going to sue you.
That's not advertising, is it, Jordan? Dr. Robinson, would you like to follow that?
I only speak a lot when Mark's not here.
Happy holidays. I want to thank this board for the support they've given all of us. We were celebrating Becky, but goes double. I've been involved all last week with lots of districts. The last meeting was with 26 districts from across the country. And the kind of issues that they're facing are things that we have wrestled with and are still wrestling with, but the relationship piece and the fact that we are a unit all focused on the same thing, I'm very grateful for having this board to do that. We are going to meet on Wednesday to further our efforts as an executive session. We'll have some outside facilitators because we have to do some work about that goal 2 and what is it that we have to do to improve our relationships with our stakeholders. So 8 to 2. It'll be in the cafeteria, but it will be a full, I hope you can commit to that 8 to 2 time, and our intent is to make it very meaningful, but we have a lot of work to do. So thank you. See you Wednesday.
And we also will meet again. We do actually have 2 special meetings coming up. We have one Wednesday here at 3 o'clock, and then the following Wednesday here at noon. And those are both to take care of your contract, Dr. Robinson. And I personally want to, I want to apologize just for my part because the whole contract has drug on too long. You've been working without a contract for several months now, and I feel badly about that and just want to apologize for that.
I'm still signing it, so don't.
I know you are, but I just, I wish it had been resolved, and it was no fault of anyone, no fault of yours, no fault of ours, not like we were arguing or anything, but it just, it just didn't get done.
It's done now.
So,
Thank you.
yes, but it is now.
Thank you.
And then I believe we also have work session, correct? Is that?
The work
do we
session
do?
is
Do we?
Wednesday, and that should wrap up before the holidays. We may have another policy.
Okay.
I'll let Barb.
Okay.
We've got so many dates that we've written down.
Right,
we misspoke.
right. I know I had something written down for a work session, but, so we can check that.
We'll check. Barb will send out the right dates.
Okay, but along with everyone else, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and,
Move for adjournment.
okay,
Second.
okay. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Jordan. All in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
I'm saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. The microphone is now open.